Amber Light, Chapter 1. The sky was purple again. Olivia looked up at it, unblinking. Swathes of lilac and violet, colliding and churning high in the atmosphere. She pressed her feet into the freshly dug earth that created a blanket that welcomed her every footstep. Taking a deep breath, she inhaled the floral and earthy scents that dusted the evening air, then stretched out her hands to touch the corn that grew and matured around her, their husks almost reaching her waist. She wondered if she'd see it tonight. Often, when she came here, she would walk through the field until she saw a cottage. The cottage had a thatched roof, with wisteria growing along its bricks. There was always a light on, as if it was waiting for her, and sometimes she'd go inside and sit amongst the antique furniture to take a breath, while at other times she'd stop at the gate and stare at the burnt oak door, wishing for something or someone to appear and explain why she was there, but nothing and no one ever did. Olivia kept walking. The cream-colored soft cotton nightdress she'd gone to sleep in that night, swishing behind her as she passed the rows of corn stalks. They swayed slightly, despite the lack of breeze, and Olivia thought they might be dreaming beneath the dancing sky, so unlike the blue she was used to. Even so, the purple was somehow familiar to her. This world she walked through when she slept felt more home than her own waking world. Staring ahead, she smiled. She could see the silhouette of the cottage in the distance, the same welcoming glow calling her home. She picked up her pace, a mixture of longing and excitement overcoming her as she followed the perfectly raked earth. A bell rang, and Olivia's smile faded. All around her, the corn began to melt away, the cottage disintegrating into nothingness as the sky collapsed in on itself. No, not so soon. Lifted off her feet, Olivia was snatched backwards, the tug in her gut making her cry out and grasp for the nearest stalk to anchor her. But there was nothing to hold. There was nothing, and no one around to help her. She closed her eyes in resignation, allowing herself to be torn out of her dream. The blackness that swallowed her was disorientating, but it stopped almost as soon as it had started. And when she opened her eyes again, she saw nothing but white. Staring up at the ceiling, Olivia waited for her heart to stop thudding. She placed her hands over her heart to calm her rapid beating heart, and then sat up at the edge of her bed, rubbing the sleep from her face. Her muscles and bones felt heavy, like she'd been running for hours without rest. How was she feeling exhausted? She'd slept the whole night. Her phone ringing made her jolt. Looking over at the screen, Olivia saw it was her neighbor, Daisy. She was probably ringing to check if their coffee date was still on. Picking up the handset, she put it to her ear. "Hello? Hey, Olivia, you okay?" "Yes," she replied wearily. "Why?" "We heard you yelling out again." Olivia's face reddened as she looked at her bedroom window, seeing it half open. "Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm fine. It was just a bad dream." "Same one?" Olivia nodded, then realized Daisy couldn't see her nodding. "Yes," she confirmed quietly. "The same one." Daisy paused. "Are we still on for coffee later?" "Yes, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. I've been working non-stop and not left the house in days, so it'll be nice to be out in the outside world." "Great. I'll come over later, and we can walk together to the coffee shop." Olivia put her phone back on her bedside table and let out a sigh. Then, flipping the sheets from her body, she placed her feet on the floor and stood up, before immediately sitting back down again. Why did her feet hurt? Lifting a foot to examine it, she traced the sole with her finger, noticing it was red and aching. She felt confused and began to reach for her tablet to search for symptoms online, but the doorbell ringing interrupted her investigation. Standing back up, noting how the aching was already subsiding, she shook her head quietly, laughing at herself. Her imagination always got the better of her. She hurried downstairs to collect a package from the delivery man. It was a box of candles she had ordered.